This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
So every time we get together with her, lots of insight for our pets, specifically our dogs. And she's got that insight that can help you if you've got some behavior issues, or maybe you've got a dog that you think could be a service dog. She can train there as well. By the way, can do that virtually for anybody. Get the certification. But above and beyond all of that, we've never really talked about the other side of her, and that's the communication with animals, or the psychic side of her. And I believe this is how she does what she does so well, because she vibes with dogs. We're going to dig into that today. Love having her on with us. She's the owner of the Animal Psychology Center, Katherine Andrews. Back on the program. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing really well. Steve and I were just talking before we came on the air about me being a little depressed today because I had one of my great mentors when I was a kid. I got him when I left foster care at 16 from a humane society. His name was Kelly. He was a giant golden retriever, and I went to the humane society to get him. I let him out of the cage he was in, and the first thing I said to him was, "You want to go bye-bye?" And he booked it to the front office, pushed through the doors, and sat there at the front desk waiting for me. And that's how we met. And so I went there to pay for him. I was driving this 20-year-old Ford Fairlane car with the footboards were rusted out of it because I lived in Wisconsin and everything was rusted because of the salt on the streets. I paid for him and I went home with him, and he was my family and friend for 10 years, and he died right before Christmas Eve one year. And so I thought that's why, and it's like once I sort of recognized that, I was able to let it go and be okay today. But I was telling Steve I wanted to talk a little bit about that and what animals that we've had in our life that mean so much to us, that have helped us. And Kelly helped me transition from foster care to being on my own, because I went and rented, I've been around since dinosaurs have roamed the earth, and I rented a little basement apartment that was like $100 a month, and we lived there together. Had no relatives, no, nothing. It was me and Kelly. I worked at Kmart and I started college, and that's something Kelly and I, and we were routine. And I tell you, Steve, I don't, it makes me cry. He was my best friend in my family, and I was able to do what I did, go to college, and
I totally get it. I honestly and truly, I understand. And you were put together for a reason. It wasn't just that was some random animal. That was supposed to happen. And I also believe that before you even maybe knew your talent and ability when it comes to dogs, that's why Kelly came running out like, yeah, that's it. You're the one. I'm out of here. Thank you.
No, he was just waiting for me, and he went through 3 doors and opened them and sat in the waiting room. And the people in front said, "Oh, I guess he's going with you." And I'm like, "Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I'm not leaving without him." And he was like a wise old soul. Everyone that met him said, "This dog is so human," And I remember we moved to Houston together. I remember sitting at the beach in Galveston, and there was a couple there with a little baby. I had a diaper on. The baby would wander into the ocean, and Kelly patiently sat there. And when the baby got too far, he would go grab the diaper and gently pull the baby back, leave the baby, go sit and watch again. Baby would go back into the waves. He would take the diaper, just pull him back. All day he watched that baby. No one told him to. He's never been around a baby. And the people who had the baby were like, "This dog is like some kind of saint miracle," and I said, I know. And they tried to convince me to sell him or something. Of course, I wouldn't have sold him for $1 million, even though I probably had $10 to my name, but this is the kind of being he was. And I wanted to recognize him and talk about him. And he's been gone for God knows. I was, 16. And he's been gone for like 40 some years. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Cricket, the little dog that we lost recently here. That um, I, I I help people. I do psychic readings for people. We haven't ever talked about this on the podcast. Um, I'm able to talk to animals, obviously, and I tell the owners what they're saying when they come to me with difficulty and problems, but I can talk to them when they're getting ready to transition or they're having some medical difficulties that are not diagnosable, easily diagnosable. So my clients will call me and I'll get in touch with them and talk to them and help, help to diagnose the problem or help them transition. And Cricket was one of those cases recently that Steve and I talked about.
Mm. Isn't it amazing how they touch our lives? And again, I am firmly convinced that most times there's a reason we get put together. And everything you resonates with me. I have dogs, I have cats, I've had cats, and I had a cat, Maestro, who I rescued. It was
Cute
probably
name. I love that.
he was like 20, it's like 2016, somewhere around there. He was in a cage for a year at a shelter and got him out of it. And just the sweetest cat, Tabby, orange Tabby, just wonderful, sweet, your buddy. He passed. He passed in 2019. And I got another cat 3 years ago. I swear it's the same cat.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes,
Or
yes,
Maestro
yes.
sent this cat for a reason.
You're right. It is him. Our animal friends come back to us. I've had two of them come back to me this lifetime. Um,
But
yeah,
here's the
they
thing.
do.
I have to tell you, Catherine, the reason I got that cat was to help heal in in the family. It was a specific reason I got that cat. And then I got another cat right after that, and they're buddies. Not as mushy as this one, but this one is just if you walk in the room, I walk up into the kitchen. He's on the counter, he meows, and then he goes like this. I am
Oh,
not making that up. And he wants to be hugged. So I'll grab him and then I'll hug him. And then he's like, he drools a lot. That's the only negative. And
that's so
he's so
funny.
happy. Then I just put him down and he'll wait outside. I don't let him in my bedroom because he's so mushy that I never sleep. He'd be in my face all the time. So I leave him outside the door. But then, he'll meow because he just wants to be loved. Or he puts his paw underneath the door and he goes like this, like, hey, I'm over here. Come and get me. But I am firmly convinced and it's an orange tabby, just
Yeah,
like Maestro, and this cat's Rocco. He was sent, or it's the same cat. This is not even,
yeah, yeah.
and it's almost as if Maestro was like, "Yeah, you know what? I appreciate you getting me out of the cage after I was there for a year." And he was rescued from an old elderly man had like 50 cats running around his house, and he lived in a town that started with an M. So all the cats by the shelter were named M. That's how I got Maestro. Um, but it's the same cat. If not,
Yeah,
it's even mushier.
yeah,
Same.
yeah. I told Sarah this morning, Sarah is the lady who had Cricket. I said, Cricket is going to come back. I said, when you least expect it, he needs some time on the other side to heal. He's home, he's resting, he's peaceful. But
Mm,
he told me that he'll rendezvous, is what I call it, rendezvous with you again. And she was, um, so she felt so much more at peace, and she wrote to me today about she said it's been really hard letting him go because she was a single parent these 15 years that she had him, and he was her partner. He helped her parent her kids, and he's just a wise little soul. It was just a
right?
tiny little thing. And I wrote to her, I said, it sure is not an indicator of the size of the being, the soul that's within, because he's just a little 8-pound guy or so, and he just had this huge heart and soul. And, she feels lost without him. And I said, well, you did right to let him go because although his body was healthy, we kept him healthy. I think I told you he had a undiagnosed allergy thing. And once we got his mouth cleaned up, he had infections in his mouth and his ears. We got him cleaned up. He wasn't on his last leg at age 8. He lived to be 15. And his body was still good, but his mind started going, and he was confused, and he was howling, and he was urinating and defecating in the house. And when I checked in with him, he showed me, because animals don't talk in words, they talk in pictures and in feelings. He
Mm,
showed me just a lot of cloudiness. And I said, Sarah, he's just really confused, honey. He doesn't know where he is or what's going on. And I said, it's time to let him go. He's just very anxious. And she said, that's a good word. She said, his little body is so tense and he's just nervous and he can't settle down. And so she did, let him go. And he was worried about Sarah. And I kept checking in with him. And when he got to the other side, his mind finally wasn't with him anymore, and he was able to relax and be peaceful. And Sarah said this morning, she said, I was going to read you a little bit of what we texted. She said, I wanted to check in. I'm feeling some better about Cricket's passing.
mm,
I'm feeling more peaceful. And I said, I'm glad to hear from you. I hesitated to check in because I wanted to leave you be so you could feel the peacefulness coming from Cricket. And I had hoped that it would transcend to you. I didn't want to interfere with that. I wanted her to feel him, not just through me. And living in a body with a brain that is not functioning properly is very taxing, talking about Cricket.
mm,
And it's good for him to be back home and feel at ease and peaceful. I get from him that if he felt settled and relaxed, and that the two of you are so close, he was hoping you could latch on to that feeling place too. And Sarah wrote back and she said, I've struggled with wondering if I should have kept him here longer. But then I think about him crying and howling and looking for me and how tense his little body was. And I know he wanted to leave and have some peace. She said, I've not been doing well. I miss him and his sweetness. But I felt some peace and reminders from him that my journey is still here, that I have a legacy to continue to pass on to my children of light and love from Cricket. And he's been giving me strength in that, the purpose he's helped me with in the last 15 years. And I wrote her back and said, and remember, he will rendezvous with you in the future. He has said that when you least expect it. So just revel in the peace and sweetness of his legacy.
mm.
Animals give us so much more than we ever expect from a relationship. And I said, I'm going to talk about this today in my podcast. It seems a fitting subject for this time of year. Little Cricket, the size of a being certainly does not reflect the size of the soul. So that's what we said this morning.
Thank you for sharing that. We take them for granted too. In our busy lives, we run in, hey, how you doing? Okay, patch, patch, patch. Ah, I'll be later. And you walk away, and they've been waiting all day, just to see you, just to show you that they care. Because as I've so amazingly learned from you, is that that's their job, that's their purpose. That's like we all have a purpose. We go to work, whatever we do. That's theirs, but we don't look at it that way. We just think, well, they're just a dog, many of us. And I want to validate something you said about the communication, the psychic thing. Before we met, I had somebody who connects like you do connect me to Maestro. And here's how I know this stuff is real, although I believe in legit psychics, when they pull from the other side, humans or animals or whatever it may be. And this person said to me, Maestro. Yeah, Maestro was a bolter. Like he'd be just hanging out real sweet, looking like he's going to fall asleep, and he takes off. I'm like, I didn't say anything. I'm like, interesting. What else you got? And this person said, and it almost took his life once, didn't it? And I thought about it, like, yes. He one day bolted to a sunroom. I didn't know he was in there. I closed the door of the sunroom. It was in the middle of summer. It gets to be like 120 something degrees in there. And a period of time later, 10 minutes or whatever, I happened to turn my head and saw him at the glass, like just on his last leg, like panting, like, Like, get me out of here. I'm going
Mhm.
down. And then I did. And there's no way anybody, not somebody's not going to randomly say that that animal's a bolter because that doesn't apply to every animal. And you would never even know it because he was so
Cats are
chill.
generally not bolters either. It's
No.
mostly dogs that are bolters. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like more validation. Like this stuff is real. You can connect to the other side. Do you feel, Catherine, that when a human or an animal passes, that their energy is still around us?
Absolutely. Sure. I think that you can check in with them. Some of them stay a little bit longer to make sure we're okay. Some of them leave very quickly and you don't feel them as much. It depends. Every journey is different because sometimes when you get to the other side, you're like, oh my God, I need to get out of here. I need some healing. I need some peace. So it's very different. I died on an operating table when I was 26 and I did not want to come back here because being home is so comforting. It's where we're from, and
Mm.
we have full capacity of our wisdom and our knowledge and our memory. And what I called one of the wise ones on the other side said to me when I said I didn't want to go back. She said, "Well, kid, you're kind of killing it there. You're doing well." I had just built a humane society. And she said, I think you're gonna want to go back. You're gonna regret not going back. And I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna stay here. And she said, well, let me tell you something. Earth is a tough place. Only the tigers go there, and they have a hard time of it. So I
Mm.
said, well, thanks a lot, pal. Now I
Yeah.
gotta go back. She kind of threw down the gauntlet, and I'm like, I'm not gonna
Mm.
let that one slide. So I did. I went back. And when I did tell the surgeon who was an atheist who operated on me, when I told him exactly what happened in the operating room and how I died and what the anesthesiologist said and what happened, that guy turned white as a sheet and he was just like, couldn't believe it, you
Mm.
know? And yeah, it's the other side is more real than this because it really is home. And animals are in touch with it. That's why they don't fear death like we do, because animals are in touch with it all the time. And that channel that I live on, that I call the animal channel, that channel's much closer to the other side than we are as humans on this logical channel that most humans are on.
So, question. You said it. It ain't easy being around here for
Mm-mm.
most of us, all of us, or some of us at some point in our lives. Why is that? Why does and some say we're here to learn. We're here to learn lessons. Why? Just
Well,
ask.
we come here because I'll tell you my take on it. This is what I learned when I was on the other side. We all here, we tend to rendezvous with the same souls. You and I have known each other before, Steve, and your children, your people that you're around, we've known each other. We tend to rendezvous with the same souls because we're on this luring thing. Those of us that come here, we're not screwing around. We're here because we want to be creators. We want to be,
Mm.
gods. We want to be creators. So we come here. There's other planets that are much slower. The energy is much slower. The learning is much easier. Nope, not us. We're the type A achievers. We want to come here and we want to kick ass. So that's why we come to Earth. Also, we created this place and we love it. There's no other place, you need to be really proud of this. There's no other place in the universe that has the diversity of plants and animals that this place does. So we're very proud of this place. We love it. We've come
Mm.
close to losing it throughout the centuries, and so we value it very much. But we are here because we want to be closer to God and we want to create and be
Well, I can't.
co
I want to jump in at this point because I didn't say that word, but it's my belief. Aside from lessons to be learned, we're here to create and learn and teach. Create, learn, and teach. And the
Yes.
creation thing, well, how the heck are we here in the first place? We created us and we created lots of other things that are here and we learn things. And ultimately, we're here to teach that to others. Do you think that's kind of encapsulates what the heck we're doing
Absolutely.
here?
Sure, absolutely. And Earth is our baby. We were in on this whole thing. And when you go to the other side and you have full knowledge, you'll get a peek of it. Us talking about the other side and what we are on the other side, it's kind of like children talking about Wall Street and business. It's just we're we're kind of yammering on about stuff that we don't even have the capacity, the brain capacity to understand. It's that big, it's that
Mm.
wondrous. But that's what I came back with and what I understand. And there's many other people since then, because when I had that, they call it an NDE, near-death experience. I've read other accounts of NDEs, and in fact, one of my favorite books that I like to recommend to people is by Eben Alexander, and he's written several books. He was a Harvard trained um, um, neuro surgeon, and he was an atheist, and he had an NDE that lasted 3 weeks. He had
Wow.
spinal meningitis. His brain was floating in a pool of pus. They said he's never coming back. He's going to be a vegetable. Well, that guy came back and went full recovery. And he had a huge recollection of the other side and what went on. He's written 2 books. So Eben Alexander, yeah, about the other side. And his near-death experience mirrored much of what mine was. And he has researched and talked to many people with NDEs, and he's made it his life now to talk to other physicians about how real the other side is, because patients are invalidated all the time when they come back and talk about their NDE. And he said, don't do that, because it is very real. And he said, what sustains us here is that connection to the other side. Just like today with me talking with Sarah, what sustains her is knowing that Cricket is still close, that he's still here, he's not totally gone, that she's going to see him again, and living through his legacy now, not through him physically being here, but through his legacy and his love and energy. And know that, we are eternal beings. We never die. There's no such thing as death. It's an illusion.
Mm. I'm learning that. I'm feeling that as time goes on. Um, we often hear this, and I know somebody that was working on a documentary for NDE. Everybody, and this is, they weren't looking for this answer, but everybody does say the same thing, that when you're passing, you see the white light. Did you?
Well, no, and I'll tell you why. Because and sometimes people explain this when they talk to people about NDEs. If you are a soul who is an older soul, you go right to the other side. You don't need to have souls coming to meet you in the white light and all that. That's kind of like um, if you're talking about grade school versus like master's degree, when you got your master's, you just go right
Is that
out
is
to
that
the other side.
is that are you saying that because if you're younger, it's almost as if you need to be welcomed. We need to show you the way, so
Right.
and you follow the light.
Yeah.
But if you're older,
Yeah, because I was a little mad about that at first. I was kind of like, wait a minute. Why didn't y'all come back here to get me? And where's my white light? Where's my welcome? Where's my Academy Award,
yeah.
red carpet and all that? And they're like, ah, shut up, because I didn't have that kind of time. I didn't have 3 weeks like even Alexander did. I was gone for 3.5 minutes, which is still a lot of time because
Yeah.
time is very different on the other side. I was only there 3.5 minutes. First thing I did was a life review, which is every second of my life, every experience, every thought, every sentence, every person. You know how long that took? It took less than a second. So that's how high tech or the other side
Well,
is.
because it's not linear time, we
Hmm.
look at time in a certain way off of this planet and this dimension, if you will. It's not the same. It and we are always sitting here saying, well, when is that going to show up? I should have this, and I manifested that. Well, it's not on the time that's on the clock on your wall. It's on universe time. It's a different clock, you know?
It's hard for people to understand, and he talks about this in his book too, is that on the other side, everything is simultaneously all going on at once, and you have access to all of it. And it's like he said, you can't understand with the brain capacity we have, you can't understand exactly everything that goes on the other side. It's so far out of our reach. But what's comforting and what I want everybody to know about that is that that connection is real, and that there isn't that ending, and you don't have to be afraid of anything, really. It's all going to be okay. You know, that Casey Musgrave song, "It's all going to be all right." That's really true. It really is.
You know, I've
And
said
I
this.
forgot that.
I just on that point, I said this twice today out of nowhere. But my mom always used to say, "Everything will work out." And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it won't. Look what's going on here. She
Yeah.
always said,
Yeah.
"It'll all work out." But as
Yeah.
time goes on, it's like
Yeah.
it does. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but eventually it does. We're out of time. I want everybody to know how to reach you, whether it's for behavior issues. Maybe they want to get their dog certified as a service dog. If they want to communicate with their dog here or on the other side, what is the best way to find you, Catherine?
Animalpsychologycenter.com.
Sim-
Yes. And I do what you would call, I hesitate to say this until you've gotten to know me a little bit, because it sounds a little crazy, but I do psychic readings for people. I do get in touch with their pets,
It doesn't
here
sound
and now,
crazy.
and when they're on the other side. So,
With people, those who have that ability, I've witnessed it. I've seen it in action for 30
mhm.
something years.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
worked
There's no
with
denying it is there. It's
some of
very
the
real.
big names as psychics. I've seen it. They're friends too. Like we are. I've seen it. Like yes, there's scammers out there. I get that.
Yeah,
And it's
sure. There's
unfortunate.
scammers everywhere.
There's scammers everywhere. There's one on the street corner right over there. It's
Right.
yeah, watch out for that. But people like you have something. What is it? I don't know. Maybe it's you're able to read that energy that's here that is connected to those who have passed. And I, here's the thing, final thought here. To validate all of this, after seeing psychics in action and even skeptical, how'd you do that? What's going on there? I believed it until my mom passed, and I would get signs and still do. And they're very
Mhm.
specific. I mean, I could write a book how specific they are. Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a butterfly going
You
by.
can't make that shit up. You just
You
can't.
can't. So that was okay. So the spirit is still around. The energy is still around. You can tap into it. I can see the signs. We can all see the signs. We're too busy doing life. But
Mhm.
our dogs and our pets, they're busy. Their life is just to pick up on that stuff.
Yeah, they're always tuned in.
Yeah. Thank you for the insight today and a beautiful note email that you wrote to Cricket's owner.
You're welcome. Thank you for understanding and getting me. You're always so wonderful about that. And I really appreciate,
Understand? I don't. This is. I don't have to. It's here. It's
you
you.
know,
It's
you do
you.
a great job. You do a great
Uh,
job
uh,
listening.
I'm just curious. That's it. I'm a kid. I'm curious.
Yeah,
I
you
want to
are.
learn. Thank you. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, and we'll
Yes.
catch up soon. Okay.
See you next week.
You got it.
Mwah.
All right.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.